Everybody, welcome to episode 13. This episode, we're going to do a recap on episode 1 through 7. Now, also, let you guys know that the blogs that I've been telling everybody about it is ready to review, and I'm working on the next blog as well, so next 7 batch. So I'll be doing this kind of thing every 7 episodes. So bear with me, alrighty? Okay, so now, before we start on these clips, Papa Satch, play that theme song for me.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. All around. Woo. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so every episode, we'll do a little bit of a clip and talk about it to get you guys an idea about all the episodes I've been doing from 1 through 7. Alrighty, so on this clip I'm going to show you guys is a backstage. I decided to record Sean from Lust for Glory and Corey from Pure Energy and brand new artist Keith from Chaos 101. Decided to record our conversation in the background, and this little clip was actually kind of funny because we're talking about, well, you'll find out. Go check it out.
Shells, I gotta say, I really like your background.
Thank you. I just made it today.
That looks really cool. You know,
I-
all three of us, we have the actual musician background going on. We don't want to show how dirty our house is, so we have stuff like draped down,
and yet it still looks dirty, crowded, and clouded, like each of our artistic minds.
Yeah.
No, it just shows that we're musicians. That's what it is.
Right. And I have actually laundry I have not put away behind me, so I don't want people seeing what I have.
Oh, my Lord.
Me.
So, the beauty about hanging this, I keep having to use my crappy Zoom cameras. But I hung this, so I get this bad shot because I can't adjust the lens, but I hung this background up that looks really good under the big cool camera for the podcast. But
It's nice of purple drapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, fun fact is the purple drapes are covering a big lump of laundry that I folded and placed on my office chair behind me.
I have a story for that one over at Joe Webb's place when I played with Karma's Playbook. So where we would practice would be in the front of his bedroom, the master bedroom. He had a red curtain, velvet curtain like that blocked off the dressers and the bed and stuff like that. So when we practiced, that's what you saw. But man, when you came down there and everything was open, oh my goodness, his place was
park.
It was just as a mess as mine. I put the good old Abbey Road flag over there just to hide my dining room table that has a whole bunch of crap on it.
That was pretty funny, wasn't it? It was great. I love those guys. Those are great. The guys that are amazing. All right, episode 2. This one is about working as a full musician, and this is as Maggie Storey and Melanie and Evita from Way Past Midnight, explaining how hard it is to build themselves as a full-time musician. So check it out, and just how you make a living out of it.
It's not easy. It is not easy. Okay, good. All right. I honestly, I think that the biggest thing is going to be like, you have to get your name out there. Like, that's the number one thing. So like, to start out, get yourself your social media channels and do your YouTube channel and do your Facebook page and your Instagram page and all that stuff, and set up your music wherever you're going to have your music profile, and post reels. Post reels of yourself singing, post reels of yourself playing your instrument. You're not going to get a lot of attention at first. It takes a while for it to grab traction, but the more reels you post, the more people will see you. And the more often that you post, the more likely you are to get seen too. So like, maybe post the same reel in 10 different places or 5 different places, or how, I don't know. I forget about social media that I have. Like Twitter is one I constantly forget that I have, and I forget all the time to post on it. But like on the Facebook and the Instagram and the YouTube, I'm pretty good at those ones. And like as you post, people start following you, they start getting into it. They're like, okay, what's she gonna post next? What's she gonna post next? You know, they put requests in for songs. And then once you get like a group of reels together, then you like start sending out emails to different venues, and you just say, hey, I want to play for you. This is what I sound like. This is what I look like. You know, when can I come play for you? What dates do you have available? And a lot of times the venues are really open to it. Starting out in breweries and wineries is probably going to be the easiest way. You know, this way, going to open mics, you know, getting yourself heard, meeting people, going to jams. You know, networking is a big thing in the music industry, getting to know each other. A lot of it has to do with who you know, and you know where you go, and being seen and all that stuff, which drives me crazy, but it is what it is, you know. Like you just have to really like put your mind to it and say, this is the business that I want to grow, and grow it, you know. That's really what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Performing and I'm sorry. Should we chime in, or do you want to say?
okay, no, go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think performing, yes, I agree. It's not easy, but I think the secret to our success of getting gigs, decently paid gigs, is in who you know and the networking, but also for us, we always say we're better in person. And I think for us that really works, because I have personally, between the two of us, myself, collectively, we have like a solid network of people here in central New Jersey. So, you know, by and large, most of our gigs have been right here in central New Jersey. And they've been all different, very different from like we were the entertainment in an apple pie baking contest at a town near here because somebody had heard of us, right? We are about to do our second time playing. We actually produced an event called The Happening, where we sold tickets on Ticket Leap, you know, and that was very successful a few weeks ago, so much so
End of July.
that we had that at the end of July. The restaurant owner wants this to be a regular thing. So now he's reaching out to his 7,000 people, and we're selling tickets, and you know, that's how we're getting the funding to be paid well, you know, to do what we do.
Yes.
But yeah, just I think being super reliable for us, being super reliable, professional, prompt, easy to work with, and you know, delivering more than our performing. We do perform, but you know, we're also talking to the business owners, making suggestions on how, you know, they can get more people there or whatever. So we use our business minds as well,
Right.
you know, to bring some relief to the venue owner. We were just talking with people we know that are in a cardiology department at hospital, and they want to do a big fundraiser, and they know us really well. So we were who they came to be the entertainment. We're starting out, actually, we get very creative with our networks. We're going to be the entertainment, the pre-show at a 5K.
Oh,
And
nice.
Yeah.
right. And you know, there's some things like it's
Ribbon
we're getting
cutting,
paid to
Star
do that,
Spangled
right?
Banner,
Yeah.
you know.
We're doing that, and then we're planning this event called the Queen of Hearts Tea Party. We're doing that because it's Heart Health Month in February. And
we do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think to Melody's point, we've had to do a lot of things creatively, and that we've had to with other people, and we've had to produce a lot of these things ourselves, and generate the income for us to continue to say that we're working as full-time musicians. Because for us, unfortunately, we don't see ourselves in a lot of basic environments, like, you know, just anybody's bar and, you know, and other places like that. I mean, we've done coffee houses, and we've done an ice cream Paula and,
Right.
you know.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Did that too.
I mean, stuff is there.
Getting out, practicing, being seen, just, getting out and just doing it, just performing, just like what you're saying, Maggie, I think is so,
yeah, very much so.
It's so key, and it really is timing and who you know, and very creative thinking.
It does take a lot of creative thinking. It does. I agree with you. You have to be really creative with how you set your shows up and what you want to have, and how you advertise them sometimes has to be creative too, because you have to be able to reach the pool of people that are outside of the musicians network, right? And so as a musician, you network with all these other musicians, and that's great. Musicians will go to each other's shows and they support each other for sure, but your fan base comes from those people who are outside of that network. And you have to get really creative to get those people in. And a lot of that comes from just being out there and playing music, sit in the park, play music, pass out a business card. It's a lot of just being out there and doing it. I've put together some shows out here with some different people. And I think what I've found, a lot of people tell me you got to stick within your genre, kind of, find bands so that, you can do this and that. And I'm like, well, but I don't like all that kind of music. I want to listen to a variety of different kinds of music. I'm not just going to listen to Fleetwood Mac. That's not the only thing on my playlist. I've got Fleetwood Mac, and then the next song could be Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? There you go. So I want to have that kind of variety in my shows. And so that's kind of how I put my shows together. And it works out well for me because you're able to perform to a totally different fan base with totally different people from a totally different genre. And granted, a lot of those people aren't going to like everything that's played that night because they're, a lot of rap guys are just rap, and a lot of rock guys are just rock. And then there's country, and that's just country, and it doesn't really cross over. The fan bases don't necessarily cross over a lot. But they do, and you'll be able to get some fans, and you'll be able to glean some stuff off of that, and you get followers, and you get people that hear you. And maybe somebody came to see that country band play that had never heard of you before, and they're like, wow, that's really awesome. I'm going to go see their show again. I'm going to take my friends. That's kind of how I do things out here. I just try to network and know as many different kinds of musicians as you can, and just try to be creative with setting your shows up, and then be creative with your advertising to get people to come.
Alrighty. Well, hope you learned something from that one. You guys, again, you want to know more about the episode, you guys can go check out the blogs, and also in those blogs you'll have the full episode. That way you can check it out. Alrighty. All right. Now, episode 3 is about musicians in the military. We're going to share a clip on how Grace and Asa met in the military. Yes, there is another person his name is Tony, but he didn't really want to explain more details of the military and his family, so I didn't really want to disturb that option. So check out, here is about Austin and Grace and how they met in the military. Check it out. It's pretty cool.
Right, yeah. So we both got orders to go overseas to a place in Kuwait called Camp Beering. It's a little boring over there. It's kind of just a purgatory feeling of life. We're not going out and doing missions. We're not doing anything crazy there. And that's where my unit was stationed out of. That's our base of operations. I ended up going elsewhere later, but in Kuwait, there's a couple of places where you could go play music with other people. One of those being the chapel band, kind of the religious services part of the army, which we host every Sunday. Multiple religions have their services at the chapel. There's other places, but we were lucky enough to have a chapel there with guitars, drum kit, bass guitar, keyboard, microphones. And, we'd have practices, Tuesdays, Thursdays, twice a week. So we'd show up and play music. And I was immediately drawn to that. I was playing guitar in another place that's like a USO is what they call it, but it's basically like a rec room. They had some old guitars in there with a couple of strings on them, and I'm playing with this guy, and he's like, wow, you should join the chapel band. I'm like, all right, let's check it out. And I played there for a week. Second week I was there, Grace walks in the room, and we started playing from there.
Yeah, I had just shown up in Kuwait and saw a flyer, musicians wanted for Sunday services. I was like, oh, might check that out. So there's a number, and I texted him, and he said, yeah, come by. It was the chaplain. He showed me around, was like, oh wow, this is awesome. They have all this gear and everything. So next week I was there and joined the band and met a lot of cool people, including this guy.
Yeah, it was cool. They had a Fender Stratocaster there, which is a nice guitar. Yeah. Mexican Strat, but I was like, dang, this is like gold over here in the Middle East. Unemployed. Yeah. This is awesome. They had some nice amplifiers, a whole PA system. So it was pretty cool. There's a lot of really tight musicians, really good musicians over there to play.
Good. Alrighty. So in episode 4, now this episode, I actually had a dream about this episode, trying to figure out how I want to do this episode. All right, so this episode are my 3 friends. We have Shauna Speck from Canada. We have King George from Australia, and my girlfriend, well, not friend, but friend, Giselle from Fatal Butterfly. Now, what they're going to be talking about on this clip is about how difficult it is to overcome what happened during COVID from 3 different countries. Okay, so it's not just here in the United States, it's everywhere. So check out this clip and see if you learned something. Alrighty? All right, so the main point of this show, which I mentioned earlier before, was to get to know the local scene in different countries, at least have an idea what we all have. Now, are we separate, or are we have the exact same issues that everybody else in the local scenes? So I want to start with King George, because he's out there in Australia, and I want to know how he's doing, and then I want to go to Shauna and then go to Giselle. I call you Giselle, so shush. All right, go ahead, George.
The scene here, I think COVID has pretty much reset everyone.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And the venues that were there before that, not all of them are there. They've struggled as businesses. And I really think they got the rough end of a lot of the support that should have been there. I'm a little bit outspoken about it, to be honest, because the music community, I don't think really was shouting, or I guess was unified enough to really have a voice, and governments ignored them. So some of the venues struggled, like a lot of other businesses. And I think some of those venues were the ones that were giving new bands and new artists a chance to, those smaller ones. In Melbourne, we have this reputation of being the music capital of Australia. I think we still do have that. It's 7 nights a week you could find a gig. There's always a band playing. But I think post that, particularly our city's been struggling, and the suburbs have flourished a little bit because people are working from home now. What's flourishing are a lot of small businesses with cafe shops and that. But in the city, the government struggled to get people back into town. Therefore, Thursday, Friday night, there's not as many people out there to go see bands. So I think it's recovering now that, some of the bands were a bit more established, have started touring overseas again. Some bands like Melbourne bands like the Press Club and all that, they're all they're all touring everywhere. But I think the smaller bands, it's been hard. And like I said, I'm not, the problem is it's interesting because the governments here, I'm trying to be a bit careful, but governments here have who would traditionally support the arts, they didn't really do enough. The party that's been running our state here, but anyway, I think that's across the board, I'm assuming. So, although I painted a pretty bleak picture, I think it's getting a lot better now. It is.
Okay. All right, Shauna, how's Canada doing?
Oh, you know what? Pretty much the same story. We lost some really, really great venues, in terms of the smaller ones. Of course, they were hurt a lot by COVID. And then it was a lot of things. It was the music wasn't happening, and we lost the venues. And then it's I've heard other people say the same thing, that it was kind of hard to get back into the rhythm again. We were kind of not used to being out there so much anymore. And it's like everybody it's like everybody became more introverted or something, and getting out there and playing the music and such wasn't happening as much. Um, I haven't been as in touch with the local scene as I was before COVID. And I would have to say that that is partially because of COVID. And I know I'm not the only one who's in that boat. I know other musicians who are just starting to kind of get back into that rhythm again, getting out there and playing. I'm finally kind of putting a fire under my own butt to get something going here in the next year. A lot of us just, I don't know, I guess you lose that, part of it is losing a routine. Part of it is breakdown, I think, of those connections. It's all of a sudden the musicians that you're used to seeing or playing with, you haven't seen them in a couple of years or a few years. And it's kind of rekindling some of those musical relationships again, and getting back out into crowded venues again. It's kind of funny that, the in terms of the audience, the people aren't going out to the same degree that they were before COVID. So it's kind of hitting it from all angles, right? But it all comes down to that same common denominator, the COVID, right? And so we're kind of in this reset world now, and just kind of trying to get that scene going again. I'm seeing some things happening more. I'm seeing a little bit more of shows happening again, for bands that I was familiar with. And there's a lot of new bands out there, I guess, that I'm not so familiar with. So I could only be seeing part of the picture. But it's definitely been a change. Even our Edmonton Music Awards, they stopped because of COVID. They stopped because of COVID, and they haven't picked up again. I mean, we're long past COVID, and we haven't had any EMAs. So and I was kind of shocked to hear that it just hasn't been happening, because I'm like, have I been so out of the loop that I've missed the EMAs? And it's like, no, they just haven't been happening. And you got to kind of wonder if that's kind of playing into things a little bit too. People are not setting certain goals, with kind of some of those things in mind. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's definitely been a change, similar to what George was saying. But I think we all have to work towards bringing that back, as musicians, as audience members, as music supporters. It'll take a little bit from everyone, a lot from everyone, I think, to get things back to how they were before. But what I wonder, though, too, is, I mean, there are things that needed to be changes that needed to come. I wonder if this is a good opportunity for us to sort of redefine the music scene a little bit, because there were changes that needed to happen, but that's a whole other show.
Right. All right, Zell, tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more into it than I am.
Yeah. I mean, it really, like, as far as our scene goes, we, for like the metal and punk scene, a number of my friends and even my band was like a full thing. We were all on the edge of like launching up a level, right? So we had all started kind of getting larger shows and all that stuff. And the way it hit, it was like if you had stuff booked, it all got canceled. You know, and there's been like a reshuffling. So some bands made it. Some bands made it through. And the ones that like were really solid cover or type bands, they're still doing all right. Like they are actually booking good shows. I know a few of them that are, you know, playing out at the casino, and they're like, so they're booking, you know, $2,000 shows or something like that, right? But the bands that were not at that spot, either we fell apart and we've reshuffled. Some of us have like gone through 4 projects in the last couple years. I buckled down and just said, fuck it, I'm going solo. I'm just going to do that. And, you know, I lost patience. I got frustrated. And I still, even when I try and like start a project up, it's just that part of me maybe isn't excited enough. So I don't, you know, I can't get people to come together because I feel like I can handle it. And maybe I'm just too frustrated. So I just kind of, you know what I mean? They always fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And venue wise, we lost what, 80% of our venues over here on the west side of Washington. 80%.
Tacoma too. Tacoma too.
So that 20% that's still there, some of them are the same and they're still trying to roll their same business plan, or they're making sure they book really big draw shows, at least 1 or 2 like every week or something. So it's really, really hard to get to book local, like to get a show like into certain venues, because if you can't guarantee like a full house, they're gonna go with whoever can guarantee a full house, right? Some of the venues have expanded out so that they're jumped up to 500 people. So again, if you can't guarantee that pull, you're not going to book there. So that's like the challenge now, is if you don't have a really big draw, it's really hard to get a venue. It's really hard to book a show. It's really hard to get them to give you that promise, you know, and trust. Whereas you used to before the pandemic, man, that was easy. That was so easy. When I started in 2013, so easy. I had like 5 different bookers constantly hitting me up. You know what I mean? Like, and we were a brand new band. We weren't that great. We didn't have anything originals written. We were fucking up covers. Like, and now it's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. You need to promise me 200 people or fuck off.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm not joking. Like, so I am like, that's a lot of people. Some of us are just kind of regrouping and, you know, changing up our business plan, expanding, seeing if we can book outside of our local area.
All right, now in episode 5, this is Gita Lily helping me explain what I'm going to pronounce this device wrong, and they will explain it more inside the clip. The melatonin is basically an auto to a click, okay? And I actually use it for my recording. I'm not doing it now, but I actually have used it for this podcast to record these intros. Alrighty, so check out their description and how they explain what recording to a click is. Okay? All right. So let's get into the topic. Now, the topic that Nance and Victor wanted to talk about was, I'm going to say this wrong. Nope. Audio click. I'm going to say it wrong. You guys, what? Metronome. Nope, not metronome.
Metronome.
Yeah. Metronome click. So tell us about this I said it wrong. I gotta go ahead.
Take it, Wolfie.
So a metronome is actually a tool used to produce the click. The click is, I would say, the pulse of the song. If that makes any sense. So that's pretty much what everyone follows, even the drummer. And as far as like recording, playing to a metronome or playing to the click, um, it's something steady for the drummer to listen to, and and like post production, or as far as like when other instruments need to like dub over anything, it's really easy to cut and paste. That's a whole nother thing to learn. I mean, we could talk about that for another hour. Like, I don't know if you want that. But, so yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's the pulse of a song. Everything follows.
So how does it work? Does it have a click before, like, say for example, does Nance get to sing and then after that it clicks with you start drumming? And how does it really work? You're talking to someone who has no clue about music stuff. So how can you actually describe that to people who are listening and don't know?
Okay, so how about Nick, do you mind sharing the experience we had
yeah
at Snow White's Acid Trip studio that we just came from?
Yeah, we had to record, we were recording to tape, so everybody being on time was pretty important. So using the metronome the entire time took precedence. So I mean, I think Wolfie plays with the metronome even live. Is that correct, Wolfie?
Well, certain songs, some songs really don't need one. I mean, if you go more off the feel and just, yeah, it's pretty much feel, yeah. Well, it's hard to explain unless you're actually playing it.
So, yeah, it's especially songs that you really want to have be more consistent and have kind of a nice driving force behind them. Having them to a click track can really make the song easier to follow. And as Wolf said, it allows a much easier time for production reasons, as well as just kind of the general thing that everyone's going to follow. It's kind of say the roadmap of the song. It's kind of like the lines in the road. If you start kind of drifting out of the lines, then you're falling out from where the band is at, and so it allows everybody to stay on the course and play that much more consistently and effectively. And some songs you don't necessarily want it to be too rigid in that way. Sometimes you want to allow space to kind of exist with how you're feeling versus maybe like trying to follow that map. Like, for example, like a lot of popularized music and a lot of hits and things like that were done to a click track, and then in different projects or different songs, people may or may not use it depending on the song picked.
All right, and episode 6 is basically just me saying thanks for bearing with me, because the first episode is basically me refining how I want to do this episode. Season 1 is always the roughest thing for, even when I started the show back in 2015, it was a rough start. So, but let's get there, I think. Anyway, so here is a little clip of that saying thank you for bearing with me. Or do I really need to play that episode? You think? Hey guys, this is Shells from Let's Talk About the Music. All right, so this is episode 6. The show that was scheduled for this episode has been postponed to a different time, which is okay. It happens. So it gives me time to come on here and say thanks for everybody for being part of the new Let's Talk About the Music. I seriously appreciate the ones who are checking out the new show. I'm pretty sure it sounds I'm stumbling with this episode, with these season. I am. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to do with this episode. It's the exact same thing that I did with the very first episode with the original Let's Talk About the Music. So I'm slowly getting the hang of what I'm trying to accomplish here. So Thanks for being part of it. Now, I want to stress mainly is that every single episode has their own blog. So if you guys go to Let's Talk About the Music and check out the website, you will see that every single episode has a blog. It has all the social media of all the musicians who's been on the show or all the guests. It will have things that we've talked about. If there's musicians that they bring, to have a conversation about topics, it's all in that blog. There are music videos, everything you can possibly find these musicians to help them build up their likes or follows, Spotify, stuff like that. So, so the listening to the podcast doesn't stop just by listening to us or watching it on YouTube. You can also come into the website and check out the blog. So I want to let you guys know there's more information. There's one thing I realized what I did with the original podcast is that I didn't have much information or research on the topic or the guests that we're talking about. I did not realize until after all the training I did at Green River College that I heard our old shows, and that's what I found out. I realized I didn't do much research. So that is a big change on the new one after college. Okay. So, so check out the blogs, be informed. And I will be done with my degree on December 6th. And, this 2024 episodes are all filled up. I'll be taking 2005 here pretty soon. And so, so thank you so much for being part of the journey. I hope you guys are enjoying the journey that I am doing. I'm liking that I'm putting a little bit of history of the topics. That's a big must, a big thing. I wanted to be a historian a long time ago when I was growing up. So I love history. I absolutely adore history. And so, so that's all I want to say. So thanks again for keeping up. And there's more things happening. Also, sign up for the newsletter too, because on season 2, I might be adding more things to the episodes, but I'm not positive yet. So stick around, join the newsletter. I try to put out at least once a week, if not every 2 weeks. I'm super busy with everything. So so newsletter, let's talk about the music.com. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And those who are coming back on, checking out the new episode from the original show, thank you for coming back and checking it out, and you're liking this new version. So I appreciate all of you. So thank you so much. And episode 7 will drop as normal on next Wednesday. I changed the time. It was at midnight. I realized no one was listening to it, but it will drop at 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. And those are in Australia, it'll be Thursday morning. And then on Saturday, it will drop also at 8 a.m. for those who wants, because no one's going to listen to the show at midnight. So I don't know what I was thinking about. So, all right. So Wednesday, 8 a.m. it drops for YouTube. It will drop on Saturday at 8 a.m. as well. Okay. All right. Let's talk about music, guys, because the music is everywhere. Bye-bye. Now, in episode 7, it's a funny clip with my friend Helen Pierce from Australia and Nance from Get a Lily. We were talking about our mental health, and we're going over all different kind of main musicians who have written songs about mental health. Well, this clip was kind of funny, so go ahead and check this out, and I'll give you more details about everything later. Okay, hang on, go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I pulled up some songs that is very famous, like 26 songs about mental health. And I'm going to see if you guys actually remember any of these songs. I'm going to pull the screen over here. Let's see here. We know about Blink 182, Adam's song. You guys know about that one?
I don't know.
Really? Okay.
I'm not a Blink 182 listener.
Okay, fine. All right. So there's another one. Wilson Phillips, Hold On. I guess that song was Bell Meadows. Yes.
Hang on. I will show you how much I love that song.
Oh, she's gonna sing.
Where is it? It's here somewhere.
While she's looking for that, I'll continue down the list.
You know what I just found myself doing when she peeked out? I found myself going like that to try to see if I could like. Oh my God.
We're gonna help her find it.
Man, I'm such a dork. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. We also got Green Day, Blanket Case. Oh, she got it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, the sheet music.
The sheet music. This is how much I loved this song when it came out. I bought this. It cost me $5.10 Australian, and back then that was a lot of money for a single sheet. And yeah, because what year did this come out?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look it up. Hang on a minute.
I can't remember.
Oh,
here
like
we go, 1990. There we go. 1990.
Oh, 90.
Wow.
Okay.
1990. I had saved up all of my busking money, and I went to the music shop and ordered this in, and it took me weeks for it to arrive. That's how much I love this song.
You should frame it.
But then I can't play it.
Yes, true. And how many times have you played that song over and over again?
Oh, so many.
Hero.
Actually,
but
this
but
goes
the
back
next song you said, but Green Day.
Sorry, I was going to say, this goes back to what we were talking about before with like having another level of understanding of the song. Like, I thought that it was just, about, this, positivity and all of this sort of stuff, and, caring for each other and, just hold on and everything will be okay. And then I discovered that it was actually about like the songwriter's battle with addiction.
Yeah. It's
So
an uplifting song about pushing through a tough times. The song was written by Phyllis during a dark time in her life when she was battling abuse. Yeah, substance abuse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then that was like, oh wow. Okay, that's really heavy. And then it made me even connect to the song more, even though, like, that's not something that I personally have been through. But then I was like, oh, wow, like for her to have had the strength to write this when she was going through such a dark time, like it just made it so much more powerful for me. And I love it even more, if that is possible. I love this
song. You're so adorable. That's what we were gonna say.
Yeah, and apologies, Helen. I got all excited. No, I was saying that the next song that you mentioned, I have put on repeat, and Ben has played Green Day live.
But it's called Basket Case.
Basket Case. Yeah. Like we've done it lounge style, so we did it all cheesy. All like Richard Cheese style. And yeah, I like Green. I'm a Green Day fan. I like that one.
Yeah, that song is discussed by anxieties and paranoia of the songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, we go down there. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the clips that I like putting together for this mixture of things. Now, remember, guys, every single episode has their own blog. So if you want to dive into more of the conversation, episode 1, and inspired to be a musician with a conversation, that's split into 2 parts. But all their social media also is actually on their blog. Episode 2 through 7, everything is on there that you want to learn about the topic and listen to the episode. And while you're at it, if you want to listen to a podcast, please subscribe to Audio Boom, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. And you want to watch it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Alrighty. So I hope you enjoyed this clip, and I'll be back with more clips every 7 episodes. Alrighty? Alrighty. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Let's talk about the music, because the music is everywhere. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Remember, the show is more than just a podcast. It's a multimedia experience. You can enjoy the content as a blog, a both audio and visual format, or stay tuned to connect with other conversation. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that subscribe button. As that way you'll never miss an episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our newsletter for our latest update and exclusive content. Until next time, grab your headphones or tune in visually, and let's keep that music journey together. Let's talk music, because the music is everywhere.